Hi, this is Dr. Akiba Green. I'm with Lake Norman Health and Wellness. A few months ago, I had the pleasure of providing one of the keynote speeches at the 2014 Charlotte Fresh Expo. Our speech happened to be on genetically modified organisms and your health. The Fresh Expo is dedicated to a non-GMO living and lifestyle, and they have lots and lots of great presentations and vendors. It's a great event every year in the Charlotte area, and I believe it's elsewhere as well. I'm recording this workshop because unfortunately the audio quality when we did our live keynote speech did not come out that well, so I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to listen to the lecture in full with clean audio and me being able to present it fresh. So once again, my name is Dr. Akiba Green. It's Genetically Modified Organisms and Your Health. Now, just a little bit of background on yourself. I'm board certified in integrated medicine. I am board eligible as a doctoral clinical nutritionist. I am board eligible as an anti-aging, regenerative, and functional medicine practitioner. I am fellowship trained in integrative cancer therapy. I am a certified functional medicine practitioner, a certified gluten practitioner, and I'm certified as a functional neurologist from the American Functional Neurology Institute. That's a lot of letters after my name. Bottom line, I continue to do research. I continue to learn every month of every year, even though I'm in active practice and I see patients every day full time, and that's my normal path. I don't do active research. I just am a clinician in the office, but I'm always learning because I got to be a better doctor. And I'm always trying to push myself farther and farther, and it allows me to get patients better that nobody else can. So I hope you enjoyed this workshop and you're going to learn a lot. All right, first and foremost, your job today, well, sit back and learn. I'm going to reinvent your life. That's what I'm here to do. We're going to add positive impact, maximum positive impact to all of you watching this video. But most importantly, you got to have an exit strategy. How can I improve your health today? How can I teach you about GMOs so you know what you have to do today? And you know what? Lifestyle changes are going to be a big part of this. So let's jump right in. In the United States, GM crops, genetically modified crops, there's 4 big ones. Soy, 94% of all soybeans that you buy in this country are GM. 88% of all corn is genetically modified. 93% of all cotton is genetically modified. Canola, 90% is GMO. Even though it comes from Canada, we think other countries don't do genetically modified. Canola oil still is genetically modified. 95% of sugar that is in your products comes from sugar beets, which are genetically modified. Now, soy and corn derivatives are in most processed foods. If it comes in a box from the supermarket, it's probably genetically engineered. The first 4 that we talked about make up vegetable oil. And the U.S. sugar beet growers introduced GM sugar just a few years ago, the end of 2009. Unless an ingredient says pure cane sugar, it's almost always a mixture of cane and sugar beet. You also have Hawaiian papaya, which is virus resistant through a genetically modified process. Zucchini and crookneck squash, which has also been spliced and is virus resistant. Wheat, which has been deaminated and changed. Recombinant DNA technology has made it different, which is why we have a huge increase in gluten sensitivity in our country. Potatoes, growth hormones, and milk, RBGH and RBST is a big thing as well. So what does GMO mean? Let's start with the review of the DNA. So you're going to have DNA in the cells, and what we're actually talking about is a piece of the cells that's called the nucleus. In the nucleus, what you're actually going to look at is going to be what are called base pairs. So you've seen a DNA strand before. The DNA is going to have chromosomes, and on those chromosomes are going to be genes. And on those genes, we have what's called a base pair, or nucleotide. You're going to have AT and CG are the combinations that you look for. Simplistic description of this is that the sequence of your genes, the genes in the DNA, determines the sequence in the RNA, which then determines the sequence in the building blocks of proteins, which are called amino acids. These proteins can determine a particular trait or characteristic. So how does genetic engineering work? Using genetic engineering, scientists take genes from bacteria, viruses, or other sources, one species, and force them into the DNA of a plant, a different species. The problem is that there are many scientific uncertainties and risks for our health and the environment, as these studies are not proven yet. Irrespective of what particular gene you insert, the very process of creating a genetically modified organism results in massive collateral damage in the plant. This can increase toxins, allergens, carcinogens, and anti-nutrients. Now, let me give you an example of how the process can cause damage. Scientists created a genetically modified potato that produced its own insecticide. They fed it to rats. They also fed another group of rats potatoes spiked with the same pesticide that the GM potato was engineered to produce, but it wasn't inside the pesticide, it was just on top of it. A third group got regular potatoes. All were fed a balanced diet. The group that ate the genetically modified potatoes with the insecticide inside of it were seriously damaged. However, the potato that spiked on top of the insecticides, the surface insecticides, the rats had no problems. They didn't show any problems. So why did the GMO-fed rats get sick? It was most likely the process of genetic engineering. The rats developed precancerous cells in their digestive tract, smaller brains, livers and testicles, and damaged immune systems. And this was published 15 years ago in the medical journal Lancet, 99, October 16th. The rat's stomach lining, on the left, you can see the rats were fed non-GMO potatoes. On the right, they were fed GMO potatoes. And you can see how the stomach lining has cancer growth on the right. Why am I here? Why am I doing this workshop? My job is not to play politics. My job is to help present research that shows that health risks are very real and we need to be aware of what goes into our bodies. I will go over many of the health effects of GM foods, deeper issues of how good science can cause bad problems for all of us. Well, is it safe or not? The agency is not aware of any information showing that foods derived by these new methods differ from other foods in any meaningful or uniform way. That was published in 1992 in FDA policy. On the basis of this statement, the FDA said no safety testing was necessary. If any biotech food company, Monsanto, Cargill, DuPont, etc., says that their foods are safe, the FDA has no further questions. But that statement was not truth. The director of the Division of Anti-Infective Drug Products for the FDA said it would be a serious health hazard to introduce a gene that codes for antibiotic resistance into the normal flora of the general population. Well, that kind of counteracts that first statement. Well, the sentence was even worse than that. In May 2009, the American Academy of Environmental Medicine released a policies paper urging all doctors to prescribe non-GMO diets for everyone, stating that animal studies show that GM food is linked to infertility, immune problems, accelerated aging, organ damage, and gastrointestinal problems. The AAEM, a huge medical group, called for a moratorium on GMOs. And they're inherently unsafe. Again, they have genes that are taken from one species, like a bacteria or virus, and forced into the DNA of other species, like soybeans and corn plants. Irrespective of what particular gene you insert, the very process of creating this GMO creates this massive collateral damage, which increases toxins, allergens, carcinogens, and anti-nutrients. Well, hey, in York Laboratory in March 1999, there's a study that said soon after the GM soy was introduced into the United Kingdom, soy allergies skyrocketed by 50%. GM soy might increase allergies. Well, okay, how? It's got higher levels of herbicide residues, which might also trigger reactions. There's as much as a 7-fold increase in the allergen trypsin inhibitor in cooked GM soy compared to cooked non-GM soy. One study suggested a brand new allergen in GM soy. Mice that were fed GM soy showed reduced digestive enzymes, which might increase allergic responses to many proteins. The Roundup Ready protein, which is produced by the inserted gene, has properties of a known allergen. It's a Monsanto protein. The only human feeding study ever conducted on GM foods verified that a portion of the Roundup Ready soy transgene transferred into bacteria living inside our intestines continued to function. This means that the Roundup Ready protein, which is a potential allergen, may be continually produced inside our own intestines even after we stop eating GM soy. Now, rabbits were fed Roundup Ready soy, and they had higher enzyme activity in 3 organs. Mice that were fed Roundup Ready soy for 8 months showed significant changes in the liver, pancreas, and testes. This was published in American Science 2006, Cell Structure and Function 2002. Female rats that were fed GM soy starting 2 weeks before they conceived, continuing through pregnancy and lactation, had 50% increase in offspring who died within 3 weeks. This is compared to 1 in 10 not fed GM soy. The Russian Academy of Sciences published this. Evidence of allergic reactions to corn and soy are shown in independent studies. The University of Nebraska in 2000, Journal of Immunology in 2003, Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry last year. What about GM cotton and corn? They're engineered with the gene from the soil bacteria that's known as Bt. When insects bite Bt corn or cotton, they get a mouthful of a built-in toxin, which is produced by the plants themselves. The Bt splits open their digestive tract, and it kills the insect. And by the way, the GM plants are registered as pesticides with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. These are pesticides that we then eat. You can't wash them off. Biotech companies claim that Bt toxin has a history of safe use, since organic farmers and others use Bt bacterial spray for natural insect control. But it's not the same. The plants themselves aren't doing the killing, and this is the whole point. Bt toxin produced in GM plants is thousands of times more concentrated than natural Bt spray. It's designed to be more toxic. It has properties of an allergen, and unlike the spray, it cannot be washed off the plant. Monsanto's Mon 810 corn is another one. Just as mice fed natural Bt toxin developed immune responses, so too did mice fed Monsanto's Mon 810 corn, and they showed immune responses. In a study actually by Monsanto that was made public because of a lawsuit, rats fed Bt corn developed signs of liver and kidney toxicity. They included kidney inflammation, kidney lesions, and decreased kidney weight. The latter symptom is typically related to blood pressure problems. Increased basophils related to allergies are another key thing. Increased lymphocytes, white blood cells, indicate infection or disease. And 10% have an increase in blood sugar, 50% decrease in red blood cells, which is an anemia. So the point is made. The research behind GM foods being fed to animals is well established with the wide range of studies done both by the big companies like Monsanto, Cargill, and DuPont, and by other countries, and even the own FDA. So talk about study after study after study belabors this point. GM crops kill animals. But what about humans? In 1989, 37 deaths and 1,500 people were injured in America because of a genetically modified version of L-tryptophan that was mistakenly released to the public. It was pulled off the market after these deaths, and there's a $2 billion settlement to Showa Denko, which is Japan's third largest chemical company, who had made the product. In 1986, Brazil nut genes were spliced with soybeans to add protein to them. This led to severe anaphylactic shock in some individuals and taught a valuable lesson. Using genetic engineering, the allergens from one food can be transferred to another food that was once thought to be safe. Animal tests conducted alone didn't catch this problem, and that's the key thing. Only when human trials were done did we know of the allergy response to the spliced Brazil nut. Had the animal test been relied upon alone, a disaster would have followed. Almost all newer GM foods are approved after animal testing. No human trials are done. It's truly a recipe for disaster. According to NYU, 25% of Americans have adverse reactions to foods. 4% of these have severe allergic responses, IgE-mediated allergies, anaphylactic shock, death, bad problems, okay? The head of pediatric allergies at Children's Memorial Hospital, Chicago, said, "I've been treating children in the field of allergy immunology for 15 years, and in recent years, I've really seen the rates of food allergies skyrocket." It's been confirmed by the CDC on a national level. How about milk? In 1993, the FDA approved RBGH, a genetically altered growth hormone could be injected into dairy cows. It increased production and profits. And scientists warned that IGF-1 increases from 70% to 1,000% when you use RBGH. What's IGF-1? Why do we care about the fact that it's raising crazy when you drink this milk? Well, I do a cancer workshop. It's on the web. We do them once in a while in our office. I have practiced integrative cancer therapy. And I'll tell you what, IGF-1 is linked to 2.5 to 4 times increased risk of colorectal, breast, and prostate cancer. Canadian studies confirm this suspicion. It leads to thyroid cysts, internal organ damage in rats. The FDA's own studies show spleen mass increase of 46%. It's a sign of leukemia. Now, Monsanto was wrong when they said the hormone RBGH is killed by pasteurization or rendered inactive. Only 19% of the hormone is destroyed when boiled for 30 minutes. Normal pasteurization only boils for 15 seconds. So how much do you think will be destroyed in that time frame? Canada, the European Union, Australia, and New Zealand have all banned RBGH. Even the United Nations International Health Standards Body refuses to certify RBGH as safe. Despite this, it's still in ice cream, milk, sour cream, cheese, and most dairy products not labeled as organic. The FDA refused to admit that there's a problem. More studies are needed. This is the bottom line. Remember that 92 statement that declared that GM foods were the equivalent to regular foods? The world knows the truth could not be farther from this statement. The FDA's own scientists have done study after study after study showing risk. The scientists urged their superiors to require long-term safety studies. The overwhelming consensus among the agency's own scientists was that GM foods could lead to unexpected, hard-to-detect side effects, including allergens, toxins, new diseases, and nutritional problems. Well, but politics has dictated a hands-off approach to approving safety testing for these foods. Michael Taylor is the man in charge of FDA policy. He's actually a local Davidson College graduate, although I'm not sure if they're proud of that or not. He was the general counsel for Monsanto for years prior to his current post. But here's the deal. As a result of the policy that he oversaw, if a biotech company wants to make a GM crop on the market, they don't have to tell the FDA. It's like the cart leading the horse. GM companies do participate in a voluntary and highly superficial consultation process with the FDA, in which they offer just summary data and their own conclusions of safety. How much safe does that really get us? The FDA doesn't do their own studies at all when a new GM product comes to market. Why me? Why do I care about genetically modified foods? Because autoimmune diseases and chronic health problems are my specialty. I practice a neurometabolic model of treating chronic health problems. Diseases that we see in the office: Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, thyroid dysfunction, psoriasis, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, MS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, lupus, pernicious anemia, Sjogren's syndrome. Wait until tissue destruction is so bad and then squash the entire immune system with steroids. How about symptom management, not addressing the underlying metabolic causes? Well, you don't want that approach. With the thyroid, you're going to go on Synthroid or Armour. We're going to chase TSH levels instead of fixing the cause of your problem. It's an autoimmune problem. And prescribing antidepressants or giving you acid reflux medication will not fix it. If you have brain problems, you can go on an SSRI, an anxiety medication. They don't fix the problem. You know that. If you stop taking it, the problem comes right back. Excitotoxins like GM ingredients, glyphosate, MSG, aspartame contribute to brain dysfunction. I practice functional medicine. In a functional medicine approach, we remove all immune triggers. GMO foods and clean living is the key thing we talk about. You got to test for food sensitivities. Proper testing is required for that. Infections show up. Blood sugar, adrenal, thyroid, and sex hormone dysfunction is something we work with every day with patients. How about liver and gallbladder problems? Impaired methylation. It's a big $3 medical term that has a lot to do with how inflammation develops in your body, and B12 and folic acid are involved. How about other vitamin deficiencies? How about you take supplements already because you're trying to get better, and they could be making you worse. They could be pushing your immune system to attack yourself instead of helping it. In our neurometabolic approach, we modulate the immune system. We use dietary modification, lifestyle changes to correct and help our patients. And I use supplements, but they're based on lab findings specific to your body's needs. We address neurological misfiring and brain function in my office as well. We practice functional neurology, brain-based therapy, and neurofeedback therapy. But here's the deal. We look at the whole person, not just the condition itself. Well, I told you at the beginning of the day, my goal was to reinvent your life. I feel like I've done that. I'm giving you information that will help you change the way you buy food and the way you eat. And you know what? It may even change your life beyond that. But we know that knowledge alone doesn't do anything. You have to take action if you're going to get results. If you're interested in seeing how much GMO affects your health, or finally having a doctor who understands you and your chronic health problems, call my office at 704-987-3993. Schedule a consult for you, your child, your loved one, myself. I'm Dr. Green. Email me with questions, Akiba at drakibagreen.com. Visit my blog at askdrakiba.com or our website at drakibagreen.com. That's drakibagreen.com. And thank you very much for coming out. I look forward to meeting with you soon.